So, you gonna do the standardized
We're
test?
about to be like the Splash Brothers of investing
The
out here.
Splash Brothers, Golden State. They are taking no shorts and no losses, man. They didn't have any mercy.
I had them in 5, but you know,
I
was trying to be generous because my boys is a Pelicans fan, so I tried to give them one game, and they almost had one.
They almost had one. They went to overtime, but the Splash Brothers awoke. Curry awoke.
He was averaging like 35.
The sleeping giant.
And he just be so cool with it.
He'd be like,
It's almost like he don't even sweat. Like,
and they were trying to give the Pelicans that game.
Yeah.
It was calling bogus calls, and I was like, and then he was just like, I'm still Splash. I'm still Splash. It just seemed like he was just saying that over and over in his head. I'm still Splash. I don't care.
Bruh.
Give him all the calls.
He's
I'm going to
be
tear
the
them
best
up.
shooter ever.
His dad was cold.
Yeah.
You just didn't hear about Dale Curry because he was at in Charlotte.
The thing with Dale Curry, he was like a true like shooting guard. He not out there with no handles. Steph got the handles
too.
Because he gonna get to the cup.
Yes, he gonna get to the cup too. But his dad held the record in college for threes, but they at that point in time they didn't count threes.
Oh, okay. Cause I remember he played with the Hornets. His dad was cold too.
His dad was cold.
I know.
Man. His dad was cold. That's where he get the shot from. Didn't his brother play for Phoenix?
He played at Duke, and then he got drafted, but ain't nobody. He actually had went on Golden State, and I was like, oh, they must be doing him a favor because he's not that good. But he's not in the league though. He ain't played like I don't even think he played
is he
like
in the
5
D
games.
League?
He might not even be there. I don't know, but he might not even be there to be honest.
Okay. So we're gonna do standardized testing. The focus on finance in schools, and then that budget that we were going over, wanting to look rich without actually being rich and not actually even building wealth.
Yeah. So,
do you think those 3?
Sounds good, man.
Sounds good. So,
you ready to see this? Let me get this thing back.
Yo, I'm ready. Brent Money Life, Brent Money Life, Brent Money Life,
So what's up, everybody? This your boy Eric, the Hip Hop Stock Doc from Black Market Exchange. Welcome back to episode 9 of Brent Money and Life. You know, we give you that dose of Brent, which is the stock market, money, which is finance, and life, which is lifestyle, because we all got to keep living. Life happens. So we just trying to blend all that together, give you what you need.
Yeah.
And make sure you check out, man, that CP over there. Make sure y'all check out our website, www.lbmex.com.
You went hip-hop for them for a second.
You know, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Subscribe to our YouTube page, man. We've been getting some great feedback. We actually got there's an interview we posting this week. Myself with a gentleman by the name of Stevie Zenith. He's got a great blog talking about aim for your zenith. It's just about inspiring other people. And, it's people gonna like this little interview, man.
Yeah, so. Man, we're making moves, man. People have been reaching out to us. We've been getting good feedback, and we thank you guys so much for your support. We thank you guys so much for the feedback, the comments. Trust me, we are working to get everything that you guys have sent us. We're working to bring those things to fruition, man.
Yeah, and with that, you know, we even been talking about trying to get a little nail here for you guys to rock out there, you know. Yeah. Everybody's been such a great supporter, so some people have actually asked us for a T-shirt or something. So we looking in the works to see what we can happen. So stay tuned. Go ahead and leave a comment and let us know, you know, if you would rock something. We come with something fresh. We ain't gonna give y'all no whack stuff now.
Definitely, we're gonna be fresh. It's gonna be fresh.
It's gonna be Brent money.
It's gonna be fresh out the box. Fresh out the box on a Saturday,
man.
And it's gonna be
Jay. You open them J's and then you put that paper
you can
back.
rock it with your J's. Yeah, it's gonna be J paper is on the floor, box is still open, T-shirt on, outfit on fleek, Brent Money shirt on fleek, B-Mex shirt on fleek. Hey guys, what's up? This is CP. See how I switched that up real quick on you like that? Remember to check us out on YouTube, subscribe, comment, check us out on SoundCloud as well, and I want to thank you guys and keep sending your comments, keep sending your emails. Let us know what you want to hear about, and we definitely will get into it. Today we're gonna dive into standardized testing. Hold
on, real quick.
We might lose some listeners. No, I'm just playing.
Real quick. I want to give a shout out. There was a gentleman that sent a comment about our last podcast, and I mentioned about saving that 52-week challenge and putting that money in an investment account, and he said he was going to do that for his son. And he actually just bought his first investment book.
See, man,
from the last podcast.
See, the whole dynamics of the show have changed. We might have to start with the end of the show because this guy, shout out because he's doing stuff for his son, and we as humans need to start not only thinking about ourselves when we're investing, but thinking about the future. Because building wealth is not only for yourself, but it's for generations. So your kids can have some Andre 3000 quote. I stopped that real quick. So, but when you look at building wealth is totally separate from being rich. Wealth is the word. Rich is around the corner from the curb. That's another.
What podcast did CP said? And y'all let us know what podcast he said that in.
Yes, that's my theme. Wealth is the word. Rich is around the corner from the curb. Let us know what podcast that we'll send you. We'll give you a shout out on the next podcast, and we'll go from there. But we're gonna start out with standardized testing, man, and how it affects our children, and also we're going to kind of segue into, because you wanted to talk about finances being taught in schools. So we want to kind of jump on that. You want to expand upon that? Like, you think it should be, so we're going to get into the standardized testing, but when we talk about like finance being taught in school, do you think it should be like an elective or required graduation course?
Well, I definitely think that some type of finance class. I mean, I feel like it can be one class, and there's like, but a certain amount of weeks can be devoted to budgeting. Certain amount can be to taxes. Certain amount can be to investing. Like split it up to where they at least get some kind of foundation in all of it. Because I mean, finance at the end of the day, and I'm sure people realize now, it's pretty broad. I mean, it's almost like math. It's everywhere. Numbers is everywhere. So
I guess more or less like a budgeting class that also encompasses like finances, taxes, and stuff like that. So it's just not like a business finance class, but a real life situation class that teaches you a budget, that teaches you about personal investing, that teaches you about savings, that teaches you about like maybe opening a checking account, starting a savings account, stuff like that. Is that what you're referring to though?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I don't know how many people balance a checkbook nowadays, but I still feel like just something as basic as that can be taught. Yeah. There's, like you said, just setting up a budget. I mean, you might think, I only got 3 bills, but what else are you spending your money on? Well, if you set up a budget, I mean, one thing that the wealthy do, they have a budget down to the cent.
Yeah, down to the cent.
To the cent. Even if it says $200 entertainment, it's accounted for.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where I think that some people kind of get a little lost in their finances is because, I got a budget and I got my mortgage, I got, gas and stuff on there, but you don't account for those extra things. Even if the 200 is just incidentals in case something happens. Just account for it.
Yeah, just account for it.
Because if you don't spend it, you got that extra now. So now the next month you can say I got 400 towards incidentals. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So keeping that precise budget will help. And also, I don't think anybody balances a checkbook. One time I was behind a lady in the store and she wrote a check and I was like, yo, what's going on, man? I looked around, I was like, yo, what century am I in?
My wife, she was sending some paperwork in and they wanted a check and she was like, I don't even own checks. I was like, and it was funny because I looked at her like, you don't have a check at all? Not even just to have it?
I have checks.
Yeah, the bank gives you checks. You don't account.
I have checks because you need checks for certain things.
Yeah.
I can't send my kid to school with a debit card number.
Yeah.
Yo, man, I can't trust my kids with that, man. I come back.
A money order might as well be cash.
Yeah. I come back and I have $3,000 charged out of my account. I'm like, yo, what happened? Oh, I lost the debit card number. It's on the playground somewhere. It blew away. So, yeah, I have to write for some school pictures or something like that, I have to write a check. Or, I think, and pay my tithes with a check. I used to do that until you turned me on to paying them online.
Yeah, PayPal, man. I'm going
so I've been doing that, and
basically, with the whole finances being equipped in school, I know we mentioned about the standardized testing in schools, particularly like middle school, high school.
Yeah.
I think that there's so much focus on the standardized testing. There's so much pressure on these kids that, one, they get discouraged.
Yeah.
And two, they could be learning something I personally feel might even be more valuable in the finance aspect.
Yeah, because when you look at, my daughter is she's in the 6th grade, and she had to take the STAR test, and it was so much pressure on her, and it was so much pressure on all the students around her. They're like, make sure you eat a good breakfast. They like pack them with protein.
Man, when I was in high school, it was standardized test, they would be like, oh, we got orange juice and bananas for
and
you.
Stuff like that.
Y'all never gave me nothing. Like, what is this?
They never gave us anything, but on that day. And my dad is a teacher, right? So I know that the educators, they have to teach for the test. And I think that leaves a gap, an educational gap for other things, especially like this monetary and financial. It leaves that gap there when you're specifically teaching for a test. It leaves a gap for other things to be lacking. Yeah. Let's just say that. Let's just go ahead and say, I ain't trying to sound intelligent. Hey, stuff gonna be lacking if you're only teaching for the test, right? Because my kid...
And that's the thing. The standardized testing is supposed to focus on your math, your science, your reading, but it's focused on certain things, and other stuff can get left by the wayside.
Yeah.
Like, don't teach me to take the test. Teach me to survive in life.
I don't want to be just taught to take the test, because I had to take standardized testing as well, but my kid, she comes home, she's a great kid, wonderful student, she gets A's and B's, but she gets nervous about these standardized tests. And a lot of kids get nervous about these standardized tests. A lot of kids face insurmountable pressure trying to pass these tests. And you have educators who basically their jobs are on the line for this test. If you don't do good, if your school doesn't do good, I think you lose certain amount of funding. We're in Texas, so we have a specific standardized test, but me personally, I don't see where the benefit of standardized testing outweight the not having it. I don't see where that.
And then the standardized testing is so frequent. Like, why am I doing this so much?
Okay, so so let's look at both sides of the coin though. Before standardized testing became so popular and was the actual thing, I think that they were saying, okay, kids are just being passed along through school and they're not learning. So then we have the advent of standardized tests to say, let's see if the students are actually learning. But I think that it's gotten away from more that the standardized test is there to see if the kid is just being pushed along to the point where the kid is excelling, but the standardized test holds so much weight that it's actually taken away from other things.
And my thing is this. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. My daughter, she's not old enough yet for it, but I was under the impression that a lot of these standardized testing, they'll dedicate like class time to prepping for the test.
Yes. Yeah.
My whole thing is, I was under the impression that the purpose of a standardized test is to see where you are based on the education that you're already receiving.
No.
So why? You just need to test me to see, okay, I'm in 9th grade. Test me on stuff that should be taught up to 9th grade and see if I pass it. But I shouldn't have to take any prep work. The MCAT, yes, you need prep work for that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But something like in high school, like you should just be testing me to see if I just know what's 5 times 5. Like test me based on my grade level and keep it moving.
Yeah, but it's not set up like that because it's so much emphasis on the school rating and the pass-fail ratio of these tests. I think funding comes into play in certain states of the pass-fail ratings of these tests. So when you look at it like that, you have to understand that.
And teachers get bonuses and stuff like
that. There's a lot, and teachers not only get bonuses, but teachers get fired, and administrators get fired if these test scores reflect in a negative light, man. And
test scores is almost like in sports, these coaches be getting fired. So 3 games, y'all, you out. Like that's almost what it's like.
Yo, man, give me some time, B. Coaching them up, man.
It's not safe out here.
Yo, man, we gonna switch the shoes, man. They all rocking Jordans. They rocking retros. I'm gonna make them rock fly knits from now on, man. I don't know, but you gotta understand that when you have a standardized test and you're teaching for the test, what is the kid actually learning? You know, what are they learning? Because you're right. Yeah. You should be testing me on what I'm learning every day.
Yeah.
You know, and this is really prevalent.
It's almost like when you're in class and you're just like, okay, we're having a pop quiz. A standardized test should be able to be like a pop quiz.
Yeah. And this is really prevalent in the urban areas,
and
right?
It's not even, and it doesn't even have to be based, you know, if you honors and regular. It should be based, let's take regular classes.
Yeah.
It should be based on that.
Yeah.
And, you know, honors, what's the mother AP classes?
AP classes.
They all take the same test.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, you should definitely know it if that's the case.
Yeah, you should definitely know it.
I just feel like they should be able to be like, okay, today we're doing a standardized test.
And yeah, that's never gonna happen.
But I'm just saying, that's in essence, if a teacher's gonna give me a pop quiz to see if I know the material, I'm not saying a standardized test shouldn't be scheduled if it's available, but it should be able to be just administered.
Well, it's never gonna be like that because they gotta prep the kids because so much depends on the pass-fail rates of these tests.
And like I
was stating that urban areas, it's a different connotation in urban areas, right?
Yeah.
Because the first thing when a family goes to buy a home, they look at the schools. Mm-hmm. They look at the schools, how the schools are performing. There's a website that actually gives the schools a rating.
That's why so many people, everybody always talks about Plano.
Yeah,
around here.
We're in Texas, so Plano has a good school district.
Plano was the safest city in the country like 2 years ago. I don't know if it still is.
Yeah.
And that stuff, I'm sure, all correlates to the school system and stuff like that.
That's totally correct. And we're in Texas. We're in like North Texas, so we're in the Dallas area. Yeah, did you see that, man? Yeah, we're watching the game. Yes, we are. I said it. Toronto and Washington.
Earl Manigault. Like,
he took it back, yo, he took it back. Man, Earl Manigault. You guys should Google Earl the Goat Manigault.
Man, watch that movie with John Cheadle.
Watch the movie, son, and you'll just see what happened in this.
That was a BET special when that was on.
You'll just see what happened in this Toronto and Washington game.
Man, folks don't remember that when BET showed the movies on Saturdays.
Nah,
they don't remember that.
They don't remember that.
Planet Groove.
Yo, man, but back to the schools though. Yeah, we're in the North Texas area. We're in suburbs surrounding Dallas. So when I went to purchase our first home with me and my wife, Denton schools were rated good. Our elementary school is like rated an 8 out of the 10 score, you know. Mm-hmm. And what's so funny is, right, on the website, right, it has a red, a yellow, and a green. Mm-hmm. So if you like at a 3, your circle is red. If you like at a 6,
for the school within the county.
Yeah, for the specific school. So we go to let's say John B. Little Elementary School, right? Uh-huh. And the school rating is a 2. Uh-huh. The 2 will be encompassed by all red
on their website.
You want me to give out the website?
No. I'm saying on the schools, like you can go.
No. It won't be on the school's website. No. They got a website that when people look at all schools, they can go. It's called. I ain't tripping. It's called GreatSchools.com. GreatSchools.com, and when people, GreatSchools.com feeds into Realtor as well. Realtor.com. So when you're looking for a house, right? Greatschools.com has a partnership with Realtor.com. So when you look for your house on Realtor.com and you say, oh, I want to move to this area, it'll pull up the schools that house is zoned to, and it'll give you their ratings. So let's say John B. Little Elementary School is in, you find a house and John B. Little Elementary School is there, right?
Yeah.
And they're rated a 2. It'll be encompassed in red in a 2, around the 2. And say the middle school is maybe a little bit higher, have a 5. That'll be encompassed in yellow. And anything 8 and up is encompassed in green. Like, mean it's good to go.
Gotcha.
So the red is meaning like, yo, stop. You might want to think about this before you buy this house.
That's crazy. I mean, that school ain't gonna get no looks, man.
Yeah, no looks. And guess what? That area isn't gonna get any looks either. See how that plays into that factor?
That goes into real estate and everything, huh?
And that goes into the taxes that come into that area. And guess what? When the taxes that don't go into that area, right, the area gets dilapidated. And the schools suffer. And you know what? Guess what? I'm a teacher. I just got out of college. I can go to this school district that all the schools are rated 8 and up, and I can make 45 starting out, right?
Yeah.
Or I can go to John B. Little where it's rated a 2, and they can pay me 38. So guess what happens? The best teachers go to the better districts.
Yeah.
The teachers that say, "Hey, I'm teaching for the love," they go to the districts with the lower rating, right? And then you end up with teachers that are just teaching for a paycheck. But you also end up with teachers that are teaching for the love, but you also end up with teachers basically that are teaching for a paycheck. This is where I can find a job.
Yeah.
You know? And then you have the teachers in the school where the schools are rated 8 and up. They're getting paid well. They have every resource available. Yo, man, I'm blessed, man. My kid walked into kindergarten and it was computers everywhere. He knows how to use a Mac. He's 6. He can function on a Mac or a PC. He's 6. I'm blessed, man. And you look at some schools where they're using books that stopped in the 90s. Some school districts out there right now are using textbooks where the last, let me see, they go up to the 90s, like 98, 99, 2000. That textbook is crazy, man. That textbook is mad old. It's mad old, a mad old textbook, right? And that plays into the economics, right? So those kids in those neighborhoods where the schools are performing below and you have standardized tests, that drops the school rating as well. Yeah. They're performing below. The education is not the same. It's not the same in certain areas. Man, when I went to school, I had to compete with, imagine you're in a school and you have to compete with hunger. You have to compete with fights. You have to compete with books that only go up to the 90s. You're overcrowding. You know, you know, they're not, you know, in certain areas they're not building new schools because where are the funds coming from? Guess what? When you pay your taxes,
property taxes.
That property taxes. Guess what?
That's why Allen built that big old stadium.
Yeah,
I bet their property taxes is ugly, man.
But they didn't care. They didn't care. People have. You guys out there, you got to realize that building wealth not only helps you, but it helps the future generations, right? So as we build wealth, right, as we get out of this mind state of just thinking about me and thinking about being a consumer, which BMEX, the Black Market Exchange, tries to convey to you guys and tries to, that's our main goal, right? As we get out of the consumer mindset and get into the mindset of building wealth, you start to see how it affects everything around you. I know we always talk about how it affects, like, you know, you may have a brand name in your house, right?
Yeah.
And oh, look at the stock price. Oh, okay, this is how those dots connect. But also, when you think about building wealth, we're thinking about home ownership. We're thinking about property values. We're thinking about taxes. We're thinking about all these things that play into a neighborhood being a certain way, then a school being a certain way, then the kids being educated a certain way. And though, guess what? Those kids have to go out into society. It's nothing wrong. I grew up in the hood.
And then you got to worry about the whole, you're looking for the best schools in the best areas, but then, let's say as a person of color, now you got to deal with where there's not that many people that look like me.
Yeah.
And now you kind of dealing with something, because what if you get into an environment where there's more people that look like you?
Yeah.
And they be like, why you act like that? You know what I'm
Why
saying? Now you got to deal with the social stigma.
Yeah.
It's just like, you ain't black enough or something. Whatever that is.
Because you get into this. Okay, well, you're not this way enough, and then when you go back home, you're like, well, I'm trying to fit in here as well. This is just how I grew up. So, and that's a tightrope that you have to walk. Yeah. It is a tightrope that you have to walk. But going back to how, building wealth starts to change little things like that, right? So as you build wealth, right, communities that were once dilapidated, right, they start to rebuild those. Mm-hmm. And you start to pour back into communities, and you start to see more diversity in communities, and then you start to see the schools get a little bit better because the property values go up. As the schools get better, the property value goes up. It's just like what they're doing in Brooklyn right now. It's called gentrification. Gentrification. So Brooklyn was, and the same thing they did in Harlem. Harlem was mainly people of color. You had Harlem and you had Spanish Harlem. Yeah. Harlem is a part of Manhattan. I don't know. Did you know that?
I knew it. This was I was gonna say that too. I remember when I was in high school.
A lot of people don't know that.
I had met a couple of people that were saying that they were from Harlem, and I would always hear people talk about Manhattan. And so later on in life, I talked to somebody and they was like, "Oh, it's the same thing."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Wait a minute, what?"
Yeah.
And they were like, "Yeah, it's the same thing." I don't know if it's just like a 20-foot difference. It's like if you in Times Square, you in Manhattan, but you walk two blocks down, you in Harlem. Like, I don't know what.
Yeah, you got Uptown, which is Harlem, and then you got Downtown.
It's the same city.
Yeah, it's
I ain't from New York, so don't be offended.
Yeah, don't be offended, New Yorkers.
If you ask me, it's the same city.
Yeah, we from the South, but don't be offended, New Yorkers. But yeah, it's a part of Manhattan. Just look at it, the geographics, right? So you got Harlem and you got Spanish Harlem, but what happened in Harlem was major gentrification. People came back into that area. Money started to flow back into that area. And guess what? Harlem is popping again. Just like Brooklyn is. Brooklyn was dilapidated. It was on its last leg. People start to see the value in those brownstones because people were moving out to Jersey, right? But once you move out to Jersey, guess what? You can't vote in New York City. Mm-hmm. So people are like, yo, I can't vote in New York City. This is where I grew up. This is where I love. I'm way out here. You know what? I got a heck of a commute. I got long days that I spend away from my family, on the train, off the train. Hey, why don't we move back in?
And then you got to think, like, with the Nets moving back, I'm sure that drove up property value in general.
Yeah.
So now you separate, I guess you want to call it the haves and have-nots, the people that can afford to live there, all because they put the arena there. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy expensive to live in New York City, man.
Yeah, and that area got worse. Soon as I know everybody was like, "Oh yeah, we getting our team, we getting the Nets, we getting the team."
Yeah.
Oh, but you can't live here no more now.
Yeah, so you got to go because that, it is mad expensive to live in New York City, man. Yeah. And when you think about that,
even if you go to like Fridays, the restaurant, it's more expensive up there than it is down here.
Oh, really?
What? Man, you ain't gonna go get some fingers and fries up there. I bet you pay $2-3 extra compared to down here. It's the same restaurant.
He said go get some fingers and fries. Did y'all hear that, people? Fingers and fries.
Man, you could be at 4 with a child down here for what you gonna get at Applebee's in New York.
Yo, man, that's wild, man. That's wild. But you gotta, and a lot of people are. You gotta look at it, man. A lot of people are moving there. And it's forcing the people that were native and indigenous to those places, it's forcing those people, what? It's forcing them out. Mm-hmm. You know? So when you look at the grand scheme of things, that's why it's so important, and it's paramount that we try to get the best information, the best education, the best financial info and education, put it all together and bring it to you. Because if you don't know about financial building wealth, how can you do it?
Yeah.
You know,
I think that's the whole thing, is just the exposure, you know.
Yeah, just being exposed
Black Market
to it.
Exchange it's all about exposure. That's really what our goal is.
Yeah.
Just to expose people to something. The information it's not that it's not out there, and that's why I always try to say, like, you know, it might not have been taught in our household, but the information is out there. And with the internet out there nowadays, you can find out anything you want to. It's just, do you want to seek it out?
Yeah.
And so,
and
you know, if we're going to have people that necessarily don't want to seek it out, well, you know what? Let's take it upon ourselves to bring it to them.
And you got people that don't even necessarily know what they're seeking.
Yeah.
Because they never heard terms. So I know a lot of people heard of stocks, but they're like, what is this New York Stock Exchange? We kind of explained that in the last podcast.
There's so many people that hit me up now, and they're just like, I got so much information, and they just want to start now, which is why we trying to do that 5-day in the Black Starter Pack. Like when we drop that's gonna change. I'm not trying to even do like a shameless plug. I'm saying
this segment is brought to you by 5 Days in the Black Starter
Pack.
On the
real, we about to start doing some of these ads up in here. So you know,
so we've been trying to bring it to you for free, but we're gonna start dropping ads.
We're gonna roll that out. So if you got a business, holla at us. And, you know, get that shout out on the podcast or something like that.
Yes, we'll put it out on social media.
But people got to think, like, you know, everything is going to have proper planning, right?
Yeah.
So everybody's probably like, man, y'all got so much content and so much great content. I'm learning so much, but I still don't quite know how to get in the game. I don't know where to start.
That's why
we had to throw the alley-oop, like you said last time.
We threw the alley-oop so Blake Griffin could come out of nowhere.
Yeah. We about to just straight Space Jam Monstar. You know what I'm saying?
With Space Jams on our feet.
Yeah.
We're going to Space Jam with Space Jams on our feet, son.
But that's the whole thing. All the information is so readily available. You just gotta
know what
you just don't know what you're seeking. So now it's like, okay, you found information now, but how do I put it in an order? How do I get some kind of process going?
And that's where the In the Black Starter Pack comes from.
Mr. T.
Brought to you guys by the B-Mex.
We need to get Mr. T to do like a commercial.
Yes, we need to get Mr. T and Kevin Hart to do a starter pack commercial for us, man. But just like he said, if you guys have businesses and stuff like that you want to hear a shout out on the podcast, feel free to holler at us, man. And we'll do that. We're all about empowering and supporting other businesses that are doing their thing, man. So, what else were we gonna talk about, man? We're sitting here watching this game and enthralled.
Well, I think that we were talking about setting up, you know, on top of the standardized testing, just about getting finances in school.
Yeah, because we kind of touched upon the finances.
Yeah. And I don't even think it has to necessarily just be like in high school, like even college. Like I really don't understand why
you don't have like a budgeting.
Yeah, like you got comp, you got calculus and stuff like that. Like.
Yeah, because you're gonna. College is when you go into debt.
I went to a predominantly white institution, or PWI, for college. Okay, well, for undergrad.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's what they call them.
I'm looking like I've never heard that term.
Well, you know they say HBCU, historically black colleges and universities. Well, they also say PWI.
Oh,
that's what the people that go to HBCUs call every other school.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So PWI.
I went to a PWI, I guess.
Okay. So basically, like, there was an entry class called the Introduction to the Black Experience. Mm-hmm. And it was a required class.
Wow. This is at a HBCU or
no? This was at a PWI. It was Intro to the Black Experience.
Oh, okay.
They had to take it. Now, mind you, I was in an honors college, but they had another class, so I didn't take that class. But I had to take it. It was like an introduction to the college experience. I don't know, something like that. Yeah. It was just an introductory class. But it's just kind of like, introduction to the black. What do you need to? I'm black. What do you need to teach me about being black in college?
Yeah, they need to teach you.
what has changed from the past 18 years to now?
They need to teach you because you need to be introduced to this experience that they call.
We don't need to have segregation, okay?
That's right.
Integrate. So finance is all green. I don't care where you go.
Yeah, that's right.
So why can't there be an intro class to budgeting or something like that? Like, why can't that be a required class?
And this is the thing, man. Me personally, I think people put like too much stock. You like I threw that in there. Too much stock in skin color. Man, I say this all the time on the podcast, dude. We're humans. We're humans. We are humans, and we're all striving for the same things. The same goals. We want to be happy. We want to support our families. What's the difference? That I'm different shades? But what does that matter? People are different shades. That's why we bring the Black Market Exchange. We focus on people of color because we saw the need where people of color lacked the financial education. But to be real with you guys, a lot of people lack the financial education, and that's why we say that Black Market Exchange is not only for people of color; it's for it's education for all.
And that's one thing. I mean, I've actually realized just in continuing on, I could only speak from my side of the spectrum, but I've just realized that it's across the board. Yeah. I do feel that there is some disparity, but I don't think I wouldn't say that because I'm African American or I'm Latino, whatever it is. I wouldn't say that is the sole reason why I don't know. Yeah. It just goes back to when you were talking about the school systems and stuff. Yeah. How people are brought up, what people are looking to do, and I think that's just what it comes down to.
It comes down to that because if we read stats. What was that? The marriage stats. That was a couple of podcasts ago.
That it was like half marriages end, and then half of those marriages are ending because of finances. So
but one 25%. Stat said 49% of African American men aren't married. Yeah. And 48% of African American women aren't married. Have never been married, right? And when you look at statistics like that, you have to look at it and say, wow, that is a statistic that says that person in that 49% is living a life with half of the income than the average person that got married. So that changes the dynamics of your wealth building. Mm-hmm. That's why we were talking about the marriage thing on the podcast. We were talking about marriage because marriage, buying real estate and stuff like that adds to your portfolio, and it helps you build wealth not only for you but for future generations. Like we just spoke upon that, like property taxes. When I get my property tax statement, a lot of that goes to the schools. A lot of it goes to the schools. So building wealth, actually being married, actually having two incomes, actually having you and your significant other combined incomes helps you build wealth better, man. It really does, man. And when you look at that, you say, okay, that's why some people have a better financial knowledge just because of the pure statistics. Yeah. And how people are, how they grow up and what they have, Because I grew up in a single parent home. It was my mom, and she raised three of us, on one income. So things were tight sometimes. So she couldn't save for college because she was trying to support three boys on her own. She couldn't save for our college. And that in turn, guess what? That makes us, me and my brothers, we got student loans. That in turn, we're paying off student loans, and that's less money that we have to invest with. Here's another scenario. When you do have two parents there, when you do have the income to say, you know what, I'm going to invest in my kids' future, start a 529 plan, some kind of college savings plan, so when they get ready to go to college, guess what? They don't have to get that student loan debt. When they're out of college, guess what? They can use that money that they were paying for that student loan. Guess what? They can invest that money. That's the difference right there.
Yeah.
That's the difference. So when you're and this is gonna lead us into our next topic. When you're at the club and you getting bottle service and they bringing you bottles with little they put little firecrackers in them now. I seen that on World Star.
Little sparklers.
Yeah. They put firecrackers in them now and they sell them to you for like $500-$600. You know, when you think about what you're doing, right, and you say, wow, my kid, it seems like a never-ending cycle, but it has to start somewhere. Mm-hmm. So with the Black Market Exchange, we want you guys to start now. Yeah. Let's start now.
To touch on about how we say the property tax and paying with schools, I'm on the Intercultural Development Research Association. It's idra.org. And
give that to them again.
It's idra.org, Intercultural Development Research Association.
Okay.
And, you know, I just did a quick Google search. And this is particular to Texas right here. I'm not sure if it does it for all, but it says property taxes are the largest source of funding for Texas public schools. More than half, 52% of the funds for public schools in our state are generated by local property taxes. And it says what determines whether or not your school district is wealthy. The value of all the property located within your school district determines how wealthy it is. Mm-hmm. And the different types of property are considered such as residences, businesses, and natural resources such as oil and minerals.
Whoa. So let's start. I'm gonna let you finish that up, right? But let's talk about that.
Well, no. I mean, that's pretty much it. Everything else it kind of went to like an example, but that was the meat of it all. Was that 52% of the funds for schools come from property tax?
Yeah. So when you have lower property value and you have no businesses in your neighborhood, guess what? That plays into your schools. Mm-hmm. That plays into your schools. Man, I grew up in my neighborhood. We didn't have a grocery store within an 8-mile radius. Dude, do you know how big that is? An 8-mile radius.
I mean, especially if you ain't got no car.
Yeah, and we didn't have a car growing up. We caught the bus everywhere. There was no grocery store within an 8-mile radius. So that means you had to drive 8 miles either direction, north, south, east, or west, before you got to the first grocery store.
Yeah, if you live in the burbs, bro, it's a mile at most. That's at most. That might be generous.
Yeah, you being generous, dude.
Half a mile. We'll say half a mile.
It's 0.3. Let's go 0.3. Yo, I got a grocery store.
And that's in any direction.
Any direction. 0.3 in any direction. Then you got businesses, you got hotels, all these things that are in these thriving suburbs, they play into the schools. You know, that's why Allen can afford, how much was that stadium again?
It was like $30 million, bro.
Oh man, for a high school football stadium.
And
it's kids using books that are still dated from the 90s, son.
Yeah. And it ain't even working.
Oh yeah, it collapsed.
It
collapsed. Yeah. If you're not from Texas, man, Allen ISD built a $30 million football stadium for their high school, and within a year, half of the stadium collapsed. To the point where it was unusable. They're fixing it.
Yeah.
They're fixing it right now. So look at the difference, dude. Look at the difference in the form of education you'll get. But that all starts with building wealth. Building wealth. Building wealth and not just thinking about me, myself, and I and saying, you know what, I got to build something for the future.
And the reason that I gave out that gem last week about that 52-week challenge and saving the money for my daughter and doing it every year. Mm-hmm. And I was like, if you think about it, when she's in high school and about to graduate, at minimum, she's going to have 20 to 30 grand. Can you imagine getting out of high school and having that money? Yeah. And then being taught the mindset that, you know what, I got all this money, I'm not even gonna take it out. Like, imagine to have that much money at 18, you're gonna be tempted to take it out, but your mind is already gonna be programmed to be like, but I need 60.
But yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm gonna continue to do the 52-week challenge that my parents taught me how to do since I was little.
Yeah, because
I'm gonna keep building on it. Like it's just gonna be general. So when you graduate from one, that's gonna help pay for college. You could already probably you might even have scholarships. Imagine if you had scholarships and you went to school. And then when you get out of school, now you add 4 more years on to what you already did. You might have 40 to 50 grand graduating college with no student loans because, you performed well in school, you got your scholarship, and now you graduate, you got a job, and you already got $50K. What you gonna do? You gonna come out, you can buy a house, and you can get a conventional loan.
Yeah.
Where you can put that minimum 20% down, and your mortgage is gonna be like $500, and you gonna have a 5 bedroom.
Yeah, you can do that, or you can go. That's why people are afforded the opportunity to say, you know what, I'm gonna go abroad. I'm gonna spend a week, or I'm gonna spend 2 months abroad. Yeah. Anywhere they want to go, and they study overseas, and because they're afforded these opportunities, because the wealth building didn't start with, as soon as I got money. The wealth building started with, let me start building this wealth with the money that I do have.
And see, that goes back to the Mickey D effect. We had that stat with Charles Schwab and Ariel Investments. Check out that first and second episode.
Go back, revisit. It's a lot of gems.
But they were talking about, one of the key points was that it said Caucasians start to invest once they hit their 30s. Like, that seems to be the average.
Yeah.
It said that African Americans don't start to invest until they feel they have enough money.
Yeah.
But the question is, as you were just saying, when do you have the money?
Yeah, you start investing.
You'll never have it if you always say, I'm going to wait till I have it.
Yeah,
right?
You start investing and start building with what you have, You start doing that. You start immediately, Say, hey, use the Mickey D effect. Go check out some of our podcasts, because God has blessed us. And He's gave us the knowledge, and we're sharing that knowledge, man.
And it's not,
revisit some of these podcasts.
And I hate to say it like this, but of course it's kind of like, I could be this age and I didn't miss that boat. Well, you know what? Be the one to start it for your family.
That's right.
I know everybody's always like, save for retirement. People are like, I want to have fun now. I'm not saying don't have fun now.
Yeah.
But how about you be the one to start the wealth in your family, and that will pass down. So now your grandkids will automatically be thinking like, you know what, when I graduate from college, every time your family continues to have kids, their kids are going to graduate from school with at least 5 digits worth of wealth.
Yeah.
Like, already.
You know why you see people popping bottles in clubs, and you getting bottle service, and you see people posting Instagram pics next to really expensive cars and things like that, is because we have been taught, and it's been ingrained, and I hate to say this, but a lot of people of color think wealth is something that you post on Instagram. Mm-hmm. They think it's popping bottles. Do it for the gram. Popping bottles is not wealth. That doesn't. We have to get out of this mentality, and we're going to talk about this, and we're going to try to get as in depth into this as possible. But guys, we got to stop wanting to look rich and start wanting to be wealthy.
Yeah, Lil Duval, he get that little rich broke. Yeah, he had them shirts that say rich broke. That's exactly what that is.
Yeah, so stop trying to look rich, and stop trying
keep it up with the Joneses.
Keep it up with the Joneses. And matter of fact, just keep whatever your last name, insert here. Keep up with that.
Isn't that what Dame said?
Yeah, keep up with that.
Work for your last name.
Work for your
first name.
Yeah, work for your last name. Whatever your last name is, insert here. Don't worry about the Joneses. Don't worry about people thinking you're rich, giving this image that I'm rich. I have this because I can pop bottles and it's on Instagram. I have this because I'm driving a Mercedes. Man, we talked about this before, man. The stock doc is a doctor. He drives a Ford. I'm an analyst. I've been blessed. And my wife is in mortgage banking, right? I drive a GMC. Mm-hmm. I drive a GMC. And I told you guys this in the other podcast. I bought a Mercedes thinking that, this is going to show people I'm successful. Mm-hmm. And I was like, dude, the cost of ownership, I didn't even calculate, and I'm talking about me. This is CP. I didn't even calculate in the cost of ownership of a Mercedes.
Yeah,
I didn't even do that.
Outside of the monthly payments.
Outside of the monthly payments.
That's any car.
Yeah.
To be honest.
To be honest, yeah.
Because, I mean, to be honest, even a F-150 ain't cheap.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Yeah. And we're not saying that, you know, we just have the cheap car. We're blessed. We have nice car. But what I'm saying is, it's cheaper to go to the GMC dealership or the Ford dealership to get an oil change than it is to go to the Mercedes dealership and get an oil change. I'm telling you guys. Matter of fact, but we got to start thinking about that, not just the monthly payment, but we got to put our mindset into thinking about the actual cost of ownership of a vehicle.
Yeah.
When I bought my car, that Mercedes I used to own, yes, guys, I used to own it. I do not own it anymore. I just thought about the monthly payment. Mm-hmm. I didn't even think about the price, the total. I just was like, oh, I can afford this a month. But I didn't think about my insurance rates going up because guess what? It's a more expensive car, so your insurance is going to go up. I didn't think about my scheduled maintenance, which on average ran about $400 every time I took it in there for scheduled maintenance. Mm-hmm. Nothing was wrong with the car. I'm talking about just the scheduled maintenance. I'm talking about the almost $200 I paid for each oil change, the tires, the just things that came along with that I didn't factor in, thinking that, hey, you know what? This Mercedes looks good. It shows people I'm successful. Stop trying to show people you're successful and just be successful. Stop trying to show people that you are rich and actually build wealth.
Yeah, that's actually a note from the book The Millionaire Next Door.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they talk about the examples of this one guy was like, I think he was like a plumber or something like that. And, you know, he was just a basic dude, but it turned out he had all this money, and you would have never known. And, you know, I always try to let people know, like, I don't want to take anything from the nice things, you know. I don't take anything from that. If by all means, if you can afford it, you know, do what you do. But the key word is if you can afford it.
That's right.
And that afford is what you said. It entails everything that comes with it.
That comes with it.
So, you know, that's just like when you buy a house, that mortgage payment might look good, but you got to factor in your electricity bill's going to go up. Uh-huh. You might have gas, so now you have that extra bill. Your water bill's going to go up. You probably wouldn't pay a water bill in an apartment. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the things that you got to factor. Now you got lawn. Do you need lawn service?
You sure? You need some lawn service.
You got to go buy a lawnmower. So now you might be saving money by cutting the grass yourself, but you got to put time in there. Yeah. How much is your time worth?
That's right.
Like, these are the things that you got to think about. Can I afford it?
Yeah, and definitely we're not trying to say, oh, you should be doing this and you shouldn't have this or you shouldn't have that. What we are trying to say is there's no need for you to want to portray an image to say, well, no one's going to think I'm successful unless I drive a BMW. Yeah. Because you got to get out of thinking like that.
I mean, I will be honest, like, my dream car, and I was still like one was a Range Rover. It was always my dream car.
Mine too.
And I was like, when I hit 30, I'm going to have a Range Rover. I'm about to be 30 this year. I'm not about to have a Range Rover, but I'm not about to break my back to go get it.
Yeah.
If God wants to bless me with one and I have the means to get it, then so be it. But I just haven't got to that stage yet.
Yeah.
And it's not even a matter of if I can get one or not. It's, do I feel I can afford it with everything that comes with it? And do I even want to afford it? Like, that's another consideration.
You got to think, is this going to take away from the wealth building for my family?
Exactly.
Because I want a Range Rover, because I want to look good, because this is something I want.
I go out the window, man.
It should go out the window, but a lot of people, they have kids and it doesn't go out the window.
It's out the window.
It's still It's still
man, my wife told me, man, she had just got she had broke down and got a purse the other day, man. She was like, I just needed something. Like, that's how she said it to me. Because she was like, it's just, oh my God, I just need something. Yeah, well, and I understand, like, we have those times, but I mean, it's not like she couldn't get it. Yeah. It's not like she couldn't get it before. But the whole focus was like, it's not about me. It's not about me. You know?
My wife took me to a purse shop yesterday and said, that one. That one. CP. That one. No. The big one. She said Mother's Day is coming up. But she's a wonderful, man, and she doesn't ask for, she's not materialistic. She was with me when I didn't have, my wife was with me when my credit wasn't even good enough to get a car. Yeah, I said it. She helped me build my credit. She was my God-given helpmate.
And
and
I know
I'm blessed.
She did that, man. She put us on the straight schedule.
Yes, that's right, man. That's and you know, the good book said
told me about freecreditreport.com and stuff like that. Like I didn't know.
I didn't know. You know what I'm saying? And the good book says to find a wife is to find a good thing.
Yeah.
So I'm shouting out my wife on this podcast. But
man, my wife, she talking about she might want to come on, man.
Oh, yeah,
She might get the courage to come on. So
we're gonna definitely see, man. What is this, man? She's just riding the horse. So we had to stop down in the middle of the podcast.
I don't know what they selling.
I don't know what they selling, but they got a chick riding the horse. Whatever they selling, everybody's trying to buy it. And the horse is talking.
This looked like it would be like a pack of coups, like if it was back in the day. You know them coups? Like,
get rid of cable.
DirecTV.
DirecTV. Shout out to DirecTV. Y'all owe us for that. Y'all owe us for that advertisement though.
They just had a woman
on a horse,
bikini, on a horse, on the beach. Where are you watching TV at?
I don't know.
And that was a DirecTV ad?
And the horse was talking.
I would like to talk to their marketing team because they know something we don't know.
They do. They had that lady on that horse. That's what they knew. Yeah. See, that's what they knew. And her eyes were mesmerizing. Did you see her eyes?
They must know that guys be liking TV. So like, if you put a woman out here,
okay,
the guys are going to be like, ooh, I got this big TV. Now I got to have all the channels to match my TV.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was.
And guess what? And the marketing department for DirecTV, let's break down this marketing scenario. They know their demo. They know that, okay, most of people who order DirecTV, they order, guess what, for some kind of sports package. That, and 95% of the time, guess who that is? That's a male.
Yeah.
And even if they don't order from the sports package, their demographic is what? A married couple, and over half of the time, guess who pays that cable bill? The guy pays that cable bill. So they say, hey, honey, let's get DirecTV because it has the sports package. See how that works? Mm-hmm. So they put the pretty girl on top of the horse. They make the horse talk so the wife can be interested too because she's looking at it with him. And she's looking at it like, oh, he's just looking at it for the girl. But then the horse talks to kind of throw her off. She's like, oh, yeah, the horse is talking. It's funny. It's not just a girl. It's a talking horse. So it gets both. That gets every part of the spectrum in there. Brilliant marketing plan. So they got something for the women and they got something for the men. So they got the funny aspect for the women, and they got the chick sitting on a horse. I don't know what that was for in a bikini.
Yeah, I still don't know. But yeah, back to what the finance.
We got sidetracked.
We just want to just reiterate, like I think the finance can start in the youth because we recently just started Black Market Exchange, but like I can't imagine like being my daughter being in high school and Black Market Exchange being available. Like, can you I would like for this to be to where it's almost like people are coming to the site like World Star. Can you imagine?
Yeah,
that's kids like not paying attention to lessons because they on Black Market Exchange. Because like that's how you should feel about your business. But that's what I want it to be. That kind of cool. You know what I mean? Yeah,
because you shouldn't let Young Thug guide your financial decisions. And when I say that, I'm saying you shouldn't let Young Thug or Birdman guide your financial decisions because what they feed you, and people might say, well, Birdman is a businessman, right? But Birdman, yes, he is. He's a wonderful businessman and he knows how to market himself, right? Mm-hmm. But you have to understand that what Birdman sells to you is beneficial for Birdman and him building wealth. See, Birdman's got it down pat. But what Black Market Exchange wants to help you do is for you to get it down pat. So you know how to build wealth. See, Birdman's kids is gonna have wealth.
Yeah.
He's got that down pat. But what he sells to his consumers is we blow money and we buy expensive cars and stuff like that. But what they don't tell you is they blow that money, right, in a strip club, and they can write that off on their taxes, so that lowers their tax, what they have to pay in taxes. They buy that $1 million Bugatti, and they don't buy it. Birdman doesn't go out there and write a check for $1 million. Cash Money as an entity writes a check for $1 million.
Yes, it's business purposes.
It's business purposes. We have That's all he says. Hey, our name is Cash Money. We have to make it look like we have cash money. We have to make it look like we spend cash money. That's our whole brand. So he's able to write those things off. You got to understand that when they go to a club and they spend $200,000 or $300,000, that not only did they do that and they can write it off as we had to do this club appearance, but guess what? First thing, they're getting paid for the club. They're getting sponsored.
I know people know this, and B.O.B. said it. Like, the more money you make, the more free stuff you get.
Yeah, but I don't think people know. I think people are going out there trying to live a Birdman lifestyle and forgetting to build wealth. I think that they say, "Oh, I'm getting money and I'm still a consumer." You know, they don't know that the drinks, that the bottles that the superstar gets are comped bottles. But you go into the same lounge or club and the bottles are not comped. And you don't know these guys that wear all the Jordans and the Adidas and the Pumas. They have partnerships with these sponsors that they get. These Adidas may be sponsoring their tour. So that's why they're outfitted in Adidas, and that's why they're outfitted in Nike and Jordan brand, because they're sponsors. We gotta start thinking outside of the box, where we can not only be a consumer, but we can be a consumer that builds wealth. Because essentially we're all consumers. Even the ultra wealthy are consumers, but they learned how to build wealth before they became consumers. And it was taught generation to generation, like you said. What if our kids went to BMX like it was World Star? We would be creating not only a bunch of millionaires, but a bunch of smart millionaires that know how to keep that money and eventually become billionaires.
Yeah.
$1 million, the average guy making $60,000 a year, guess what? He's going to be a millionaire. Even before he retires. You got to think about that. You got to think about a lot of people don't even put that into perspective. They say, oh man, such and such Wiz Khalifa, oh man, he got money, he a millionaire. Well, you know what? The average guy making $60,000 a year, sitting at a desk job, he's going to be a millionaire as well. Just because, let's say Wiz Khalifa, we're just using Wiz Khalifa as an example, has $11 million now. That's what his celebrity net worth says. You got to understand that that's not cash in hand.
Yeah.
That's not cash. But I don't think a lot of people understand that. I think they think that
net worth is definitely not cash in hand.
I think that they think that he has.
Dr. Dre, they were talking about him being worth $1 billion. He didn't have $1 billion in Bank of America.
No, that was tied up in stocks and investments.
Yeah,
that's just what he's worth. That's what his portfolio is worth. People don't I don't
now,
think
if he wanted to cash out, he can do that.
He can do that.
Some of them things aren't. They don't have high liquidity, which I said that in Teaching Thursday.
Thank you.
Like, high liquidity means you can get it within a day or two. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, some of them things, like a house, you can't sell that in a day or two.
Church, tabernacle.
Tabernacle. Trust me, a house is a very great investment, but you can't get your money back in a day or two. That's why closing costs takes 30 to 60 days. Like, it's not fast.
Yeah, so, you gotta understand liquidity. And you got to understand that concept of that, because I think people out here, he's $11 million. No. That's the same thing as the guy going to work and he's making, a guy making $40,000 a year is going to be a millionaire at one point. He's going to see $1 million, And you got to think about that when you're saying, okay, I'm going to start building wealth. Where do I start? Start with what you have. Forget about looking rich. And start a plan to actually build wealth.
One thing I've been noticing, since some people have been kind of following the platform, is, and this is exactly what I wanted, I'm noticing the excitement now. I'm noticing the energy in wanting to invest. Like, I always tell people now, like, I have like a few brokerage accounts, and I'm just like, it's almost like a game to see how much I can invest.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, it's almost like, I'd rather do that than play Madden or something.
Yeah, I look at my investment account like 3 times a week.
Yeah,
I'm like, I made some money.
Yeah.
I made some money.
And no matter how small or how big, you like, it's green. Like, it's in the positive.
Yeah, because I had to do some stuff, so I got some money out, and I was blessed, and I made that money back within a couple of days. And I was like, thank God for that, man.
And see, like, I was actually, I was telling my wife, I was like, yeah, when our daughter, she's in high school, and let's say she's got money in her investment account, and I've been teaching her how to do it, and she's going to be like, she can't take the money out herself, but she might be like, hey, Dad, I want to take some money out for this. And I'm like, okay, we'll do it. I need you to come up with a plan to see how you're going to get that money back with your investment stuff.
See? Yeah, that's what...
I'm not saying we can't do it. I just want to see what your plan to get it back to make up for it.
And we got to start doing that with our kids. We got to stop, like I said, letting young...
Use it as a teaching point.
Yeah,
that's it.
Letting Young Thug and T.I. And no, I'm not throwing any shades to those guys, but I'm just saying that's not Young Thug and T.I.'s responsibility to teach your kids financial responsibility. I think that should be on the parent, you know, and because they're selling themselves and they're selling the dream, you know. And a lot of times we have our kids coming up and they idolize these rappers and these entertainers, and they say, "Oh, they throw money in the air. When I get money, I throw money in the air." But what if they had the mentality of, when I get money, I invest it. When I get money, I put a plan together to make more money. People laughed at Dame Dash when he said his kid was selling cookies. But guess what? His kid is selling cookies. His kid already has his own business. His kid is building wealth. You can't laugh at that, dude. That is real.
And I think that, of course, I remember the caveat was like, oh, well, I'm sure your dad helped you put some money up. But that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to set it up, and you just carry it on after.
That's right.
I want to give you a foundation to start with.
That's what I'm trying to do too.
She gonna do the same for her kids, and so on and so forth.
And that goes back to starting with what you have. You don't have to have what Dame Dash had to start helping your kid build wealth. You can do $5 a pay period in a savings account. Once that gets to a certain amount, maybe $100, $200, say, okay, how can I invest this for my kid? That's how you start. It doesn't have to be Dame Dash money. Oh, he had Rockefeller. Oh, his dad helped him do that. But yeah, with your kids, you can say, hey, and we stress your kids, and even if you don't have kids, we stress that because we want you to not only build wealth for yourself, but build wealth for future generations. Because that's pivotal, building wealth for future generations.
And to build wealth, like, don't get it confused that we're not saying that you have to be a millionaire or a billionaire, which would be great. If God blesses you, fantastic. But wealth is about a level of comfort. Are you comfortable? How much debt do you have? How what's your bills? Are you living paycheck? You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that is like, it's just, that's what wealth is to me. Is that it's just a level of comfort.
It doesn't necessarily mean that you're a millionaire or a billionaire. It's just like, oh, I can pay my bills.
Because if you're a millionaire but you got $2 million expenses, then you ain't wealthy. Like, that's just the truth.
It's just the truth. It's just what it is.
So it's all relative to me. I just want to make sure people understand that, like, wealth is a sense of fulfillment. You know what I'm saying? Are you doing what you're supposed to do?
And that goes back to saying, I have to drive a BMW for me to feel like other people feel like I'm successful. You don't have to do that. Success is what you make it. I know a lot of people say, oh, my business wasn't successful because it didn't last, or I'm not successful because I didn't make it in this, or I'm not successful because I wasn't able to do this. But success starts from within. Being successful doesn't mean, and is not necessarily relegated to what other people can see. There are a lot of producers, there are actors, there are talented sports players that you never knew about, right? But that doesn't take away from their talent. That doesn't take away from their success, man. Just because the world isn't focused in on this one person, we have gotten too caught up with, oh, the world dictates my success.
Man, there's only one person that you need to impress, and that's God. That's it.
That's for real. That's for real. And we're going to end this out, but I'm going to give you guys a quick scenario, man, on how the perception of the what somebody else thinks can make you miss out on building wealth, man. We got a lot of people who will save up all winter, all spring, so they can ball out in the summer. You know, they take trips. People, you know, I see it on Instagram. Just regular, average, everyday people just gonna ball out. And I was talking to E about this, right? So imagine, right, last year you saved up $3,500, $3,000 to go on a trip that you would just go.
And that's balling, right?
Yeah, that's just to ball out. You know, you already
that's the bus balling, right?
Yeah,
are we setting that as the standard?
Yeah,
$3,000 is balling, right?
$3,000 that you can just lose. I don't know. It might be a little low. Maybe.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking because, in my opinion, I feel like that's nothing.
Yeah. But $3,000, yeah, because some people, $3,000 they got in their pocket, they can have a knot.
But it is I said it's relative, so it is relative.
Yeah, so, it's all relative.
Pardon me, y'all.
Yeah. So let's just look at $3,000, right? Because this is what I did the little synopsis on $3,000, right? So you save up $3,000 to go to Miami, so you can ball out, so you can go to all the clubs, so you can go to all the hot spots and do everything, right? So let's say you did that last year to go last summer, right? What if you had took that $3,000, right, and you had been up on your investments. You had been listening to the BMX. You had been, studying, watching the ticker. You had been looking at teaching Thursdays and market Mondays. And you said, oh, you know what? Apple is finna split, which it did last summer.
Yeah.
And you said you took your $3,000 and you bought shares in Apple, right? That summer, last summer, you bought shares when it split. It split down to like $90, right? Mm-hmm. So that would have probably got you about 33.3 shares, something like that, right? With $3,000, right?
Yeah.
By the time the iPhone 6 released in the end of the year, it was up to like 120, 125. What's Apple trading at right now?
It's like 130.
130.
I get the exact number, but it was
130. So
last close I saw.
Last close, it was 130, right? So
it's 129.67. So
130. Let's say 130. So 130. So that 3,000 you invested, right? You invested that. You got about 33 shares. Now it's trading at what?
At $100? We said
at 90. When
90.
it split,
okay.
It was like 90.
Okay.
It was like 90. So now
you made 1,300.
You made 1,320.
Yeah.
You made 1,320, and it ain't even the summer yet, right? Mm-hmm. We haven't even got back to the summer yet. So not only did you make when we say you made 1,300, that's on top of your 3 Gs that you put in.
Yeah, and be mindful that Apple has annually they have a $1.88 dividend.
Dividend, that's right.
So if you got 33 shares, let's do the dividend divided by 4. So $1.88 divided by 4 times 33. So you also got almost $16 every 3 months during that time. So you probably got 2 of them. So you got an extra $30 from the dividend.
You got an extra $30.
And the only reason the dividend is so small is because it's a tech company. And tech companies tend to not have high dividends.
High dividends.
But it's still, that's $30 extra. So you really got $13.50 instead of $13.20.
So you got $13.50, right? So let's say you were fortunate enough to get a tax refund, right? Mm-hmm. Now let's just put it low. You were fortunate enough to get a tax refund. So you got $1,000 back, right? Mm-hmm. Or let's say $1,500. Mm-hmm. $1,500 back, right?
Yeah.
So guess what? You take that $1,500 that you got back, mm-hmm. add it to the $13.50. Where we at now?
$2,850.
You almost back up to your $3,000 that you can go on your vacation with.
Ooh.
You almost back up there. So
Hammer don't hurt him.
Hammer don't hurt him. Please don't. Too legit to quit. Too legit. This is why we pray just to make it today. That was one of my favorite Hammer
songs. And the
songs.
crazy part is, let's just say you got the $1,500 back on your refund. Why not go ahead and buy a couple extra shares?
Yeah, but they want to go on vacation though.
Well, no. At the time.
Yeah.
At the time. Because you're vacationing until the summer.
Yeah.
You get your refund in probably, March.
Hammer don't hurt them.
Depending on when you file.
Yeah.
If you file late in April, not late, but if you file in April, then okay, maybe it's close to the summer. I'll try to file as soon as possible. Yeah. And I get my return back in February. I'll be trying to be on my joint.
On my joint.
So let's say you get your return back in March and you bought some more shares. You still got another couple months
to see what it does.
Add on. And then, of course, Apple reported their earnings, so it's like, and now then it might go up. It's just different factors.
And you gotta look at it. The Apple Watch is about to drop. So guess what? That what we at 28.50. 28.50.
Yeah.
You would have made that. You would have made that. Was it $150?
Yeah.
You would have made that. You would have made that if you had reinvested it back in. You would have made that. So sell enough shares that you can go on your trip, 3,000. Now your trip is paid for, not even out of your pocket. Yeah. And guess what? Guess what, people? Hammer don't hurt them.
Yeah.
Guess what? You still got 33 shares of Apple.
Well, you won't have 30. You might not have 33 because you're gonna sell some, right?
You're gonna sell some,
but your portfolio is gonna be worth the same.
It's gonna be worth the same.
So let's say you have 20 or 25 shares.
Yeah. You're not gonna have 33. My bad.
But it's worth the same.
I got caught up in my hammer pan.
Hey, either way, but it all comes. I always say it's a numbers game. It comes down to the bottom line.
Yeah,
and the bottom line is 3,000. Is 3,000. It don't matter.
Yeah,
if
so
you
you
10 or 100.
That's right. You're gonna sell off shares, but the shares are worth more now than what you bought them. So guess what? You still have the initial $3,000 worth of shares. You still have that, and plus it's growing, and you own a stock. That's how you build wealth. And then now, this summer when you go there, you're starting to build wealth. You can actually ball out. It's not even in your pocket. It didn't even hurt your pocket. We just looked at things outside of the box. And on that note, we're gonna hit you guys next week. So, like we always say, man, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for all your great comments. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all the great feedback. And Hip Hop Stock Doc, let them know where to hit us. Oh yeah, check us out on SoundCloud. Check us out on YouTube. Subscribe, comment, and re-comment, and then comment some more.
Yeah, we've actually been we've been getting a lot of good feedback with the comments, and we appreciate them. The reason that we don't ask for comments for display purposes. I don't want somebody to come to the page and be like, oh, they got all these comments. I don't care what other people think if we got all these comments.
Yeah,
I just want to know what people think.
Yeah.
I want to know, are people like, wow, like the message I got from the guy saying, oh, I'm going to do that for my son. Like that stuff will touch me more than 10 comments that say nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's the blessing for us, that we know that we're able to bless others.
Yeah.
That's what we're really looking for the comments for.
So definitely sign up for our email list at our website, www.thebmex.com. Make sure to just continue to check out our programming with our Market Mondays, Teaching Thursdays, Verse of the Week. Just continue to check those things out. Continue to follow us to see what, the new things. We always get something. The 10 apps in 10 days was fantastic.
It was phenomenal.
Man, when I swear these companies need to be paying us, man, because it's so many people that's got these apps, some of these apps now from that. People were like, wow, this is crazy. They're going to start coming.
They're going to start coming. In due time. So, God has his plan. So in due time.
And I'm actually even thinking of, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but, they used to have this thing where it was like a month challenge, where let's say it's the month of April. So every day in April, you have to make a different post, right? So April 1st, you have to post something sunny. April 2nd, you have to post.
Yeah, guys are still not on social media.
Yeah. So April 2nd, you might have to post a pasta dish. Like, it's just random stuff. I'm thinking about maybe trying to do something like that from the investing or finance side, or even the hip hop side, blending them together. Since I'm the hip hop stock talk.
Yeah, man.
I'm thinking of doing that because I think that people like these things, but they're educational at the same time, and it gets them thinking. Maybe like, oh, it's March 5th. Post a stock with the dividend that's at least $2 annually.
Go. Do it.
You know what I'm saying? I think that might be pretty cool.
I think that's a good idea.
We try to come up with we
try to do
programs and stuff that everybody is gonna really like.
And I guess I'll end it right here, man. We got a lot of stuff in the pipelines.
It's a lot.
We got a lot of stuff in the pipelines.
I'm so excited,
man. And Lord willing, it's gonna come. It's gonna come out, and it's gonna come to fruition, and it's gonna be great. So on that note, I'll say, live life, love God. We're out. Yo, I think that was a good one. We went over. We was gone. I was at 80 minutes. I was at the kids.